So Chardsy, what's keeping you around, man?
Oh, I think it's very funny to be in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the latest funny thing that you
It's
heard?
not like a particular event. It's just like the overall vibe of it.
What do you mean?
Well, I think the arguments that go on here are very funny. And I think the people in here are very funny.
I'll grant you that last one. I think there's quite a few comics in here. There's a way of speaking where, comes off.
Yeah.
Makes it.
And I'm not trying to pass any judgment or anything. I just think the whole, like I said, the whole vibe is very funny.
Well, yeah. Again, way people think, the way people say certain things, kind of, there's this shtick, right? But in terms of the arguments, like, what's funny about them?
Yeah. Exactly. Like, I'm not even trying to pick a side here. I just think it's very funny.
Well, in terms of the arguments, like, what's one funny argument?
Jeez. I don't know if I could even pick one. Gosh.
Ah, man, it must be hilarious.
That's not even hilarious. It's just like it's funny, you know?
Which one? You can't even find one? That's funny.
You goofball. Are you funny? You doing the funny?
Ironic. How ironic, eh?
I don't know. I always get a laugh out of here. It's not even any particular argument. It's just I find it funny.
So what do you mean to say? You're kind of like sitting up there in your ivory tower, looking down at us silly plebs arguing over such a archaic idea or something. And you're like, ha ha ha! Look at these peons.
Well, it's not even the arguments per se. It's like how you guys conduct the arguments. They always tend to be really aggressive, I guess.
Okay.
And people always get kicked out of here. So, like, you guys muted me not even 30 minutes ago. So, like, I find it very funny that you guys are trying to present yourselves in this way, that you're just little guys having arguments, but at the same time, and anytime somebody gets a little too spicy, you just start kicking them out, I find that funny.
Well, you acknowledge, right? There are certain rules, and we want to maintain.
Yeah, there's certain rules, but I'm not swearing or cursing or cussing or anything.
No. But you made an accusation, right? I know how you intended it in a light manner, but I told you, I'm like, be careful, because some key words, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
That was all that was about.
Yeah, there's triggers, definitely.
Meant,
and
right, I know what you meant, and I didn't take offense to it.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit of a sassy comment. It's like you missed half the argument, but in light of that, other part was the critical element.
I appreciate that. But like I said, that's part of the funny. That's part of what makes it funny.
Okay.
Because I've never come in. I don't know. Maybe a couple times I've come in here, like really trying to throw punches, trying to upset people, trying to go after narratives and whatever. But most of the time I come in here, it's just because I don't know. I think it's funny. And I'm not trying to upset anybody. But people do end up upset, and I don't think I've gone in here in the past month a single time where I haven't been banned or at least muted for a day.
Enough with the meta and the concern trolling. Anyway, it's hilarious, right? That the surface
very funny.
of liquid it's really funny that the surface of liquid is flat, right?
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
it is very funny.
Yeah, I can just see a comedian standing up and using that in their act. It's just fucking
Right. It makes you
belly
wonder why
laughing.
more comedians don't do it, right?
What? Just state simple facts about the natural physics of water?
Yeah, man. That's like what half of comedy is all about, is just like pointing out obvious things that people get upset about, you know? I think it's very funny.
But we're not upset about the topic. We're
No.
not upset about any particular thing,
Yeah.
It's how it's conducted. Some people are very rude.
I
People are
think
very aggressive.
there's some
They're
truth to that,
manipulative.
but I think there is some truth to the fact that some people in here get upset about the topic.
Well,
And I'm not trying to point
opponents
names
would
or
come in
anything,
here.
but I think there is definitely. I think it would probably be measurable, the fact that some people in here do get very upset about certain topics that get brought up.
Shit, bro.
It's not the topic, dude. It's the mannerisms. You gotta
Okay.
understand that. I mean, people will come in here, they're all aggressive, they're spinning their words around, they're deliberately not answering questions. And it's pretty evident that that's what's going on, because they're clarified to multiple times and they refuse to answer. They're disingenuous in their responses, and you can see how that can be frustrating, right? I get a kick out of it, dude.
I can very
Some people
much see how that would
blow
be
up.
frustrating.
Yeah. And the manner in which some people blow up in response to that, I get a kick out of it sometimes. I see what you mean. There's just their expressions kind of it's got a funny to it. I get that, but it is a sincere topic, and
No, I get that.
you can see why we're doing it, right?
My main thing is that every time I try and sincerely discuss the topic, and not from a point of like trying to convince somebody of one way or the other, but I always get muted or banned from here.
But how are you conducting yourself?
Just like this. Not particularly aggressive or anything. I'm just talking and people get upset with it, and
But it's not. It's not. I told you. Like I said a minute ago, it's not necessarily aggression. You could be the most smoothest, calmest talker, but the biggest asshole at the same time, because you're not.
No, that's fair. Do you think
right?
the way that I'm conducting myself right now, am I being an asshole?
Nobody fucking cares, bro.
Yeah, see, this guy, I would say, is probably being a little bit of an asshole. And
it's
that's
true. I'm sure most people don't really care. Like, I'll admit it. I opened the conversation, right? I'm kind of curious why you're still here, right? I'm taking your word for it that you're being honest and like, I just, get a kick out of it. And I'm curious why. Most people don't. I mean, look, I'm taking up the space, whatever, there's 16, 18 people in the room. I don't want to hog the mic, right? But I am curious. One thing I'm curious about too is what was the last argument you made that would have created a stink?
Oh gosh, I try not to make arguments in here. I don't think it's a community that takes arguments well if they're not
structured properly.
Yeah, exactly. But if they're not put in a certain way, I think it's very difficult to make any sort of argument in here. I definitely don't try and make arguments regarding the shape of the earth or that kind of stuff.
But what was the last one that you did make?
Gosh. It wasn't really, I wouldn't call it an argument. I was trying to talk about what the implications of the flat earth. I wouldn't really call it an argument.
So it was a claim as to how you saw some of the implications might be.
I wouldn't even say it was a claim. It was me trying to ask discussions, to spark discussions about certain implications.
Like what?
Well, like, I'm curious, if the Earth is flat, there must be certain things that are true. There are certain things that must not be true. And those things must necessarily differ from what the common narrative is.
Yeah, no
And
kidding.
so, yeah, exactly, right? I feel like that's a pretty, non-offensive thing to talk about, but
That's fine.
it always
Well, the thing
ends.
is, like the conversations that go on in here, it's not exactly like, oh, what you're saying. If if you're going to say something and you get muted, it's not necessarily that you're saying anything incorrect. Come in here, I start talking about cooking or cleaning, or I mean, people come in here. I've heard conversations. People go on about music and go on also art, whatever, and they're like, guys, let's come back. Someone gets muted or some shit. Right? It's time and place. Right?
Right, and I can
So
appreciate that, but every single time that I can recall, it's always been one of the moderators who gets very upset. They start cursing at me, or they start saying things that, are definitely not appropriate to the time and place. And then that's what follows.
okay.
So,
Well, is it because maybe in part of what you did say, either it was too tangential or too meta or too abstract, not taking a position, for too long per se?
well, what
Perhaps?
we're saying right now, what we're talking about is pretty meta, right? But I can't
Yeah.
imagine a situation in which this conversation warrants somebody coming in here swearing at me, telling me that I'm off topic and I need to, and they just mute me outright because they're upset about it,
Well, the issue is, believe you me, right? If we go on for too long about this, I might get muted.
Oh,
Right?
I'm
So it
sure.
goes both ways.
But there's no other
I acknowledge
conversation in the chat right now. There's nothing else.
It's not
exactly.
about getting upset, bro.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
See, and this is what I'm talking about.
You saying that it's about being upset makes me fucking upset.
Right, and that's what I'm saying is you're getting upset.
Yeah, you're just a triggerer. I don't think you're here for this discussion.
I'm literally having a discussion right now. I don't. That's what I'm talking about. That would be a great example. Is people getting upset for basically no reason. If anyone else wants to have a discussion that's more on topic, please feel free to interrupt. I won't interrupt you. But that's what I'm talking about.
I'm overall curious where your position lies. I don't know if I've ever really been able to ascertain where you stand, except for more like on the fence, to put it like generally.
Yo, Chardsy, you don't want to have discussion with me, man. If we have discussion, I'm gonna kill you. Rhetorically.
Oh, bro.
Just rhetorically,
Bro.
yeah.
Oh, you did caveat that? Okay.
It's just rhetorically, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, you caught yourself there. That's good.
Yeah. He's just a chill guy.
Yeah, percentage is all right. I think your Pac-Man thing's a little funny, to use Chardsy's term.
Oh man, it's the truth. Yeah, bro, it's the truth.
Did you ever hear that one, Chardsy?
No, I've never heard of the Pac-Man.
Oh, God.
I
Don't call
need to be
Pac-Man, man.
educated.
The wrap around the earth.
Uh-oh.
Oh, God.
It's that the ends of the earth connect. They seamlessly blend together.
Oh.
And so, while the earth is finite, it infinitely loops for us as humans. We can't traverse past the edges of the earth.
Well, if the edges connect, how could you traverse past them? Like, doesn't that? I mean,
they connect for us. Empirically, like everything blends together seamlessly. But let's say for another entity, maybe they could traverse it. Who knows? But all I know is for humans, they can.
That's very. I haven't heard of this before, so I will say that is very interesting, and I would love to talk about that more. Just because I I don't have any reference point to talk about it. So the edges of the Earth connect, but we can't traverse past them. So that would imply that you can traverse past them. We just don't have the proper technology or something.
Yeah, or maybe you just need to be like in a different state. Maybe it's like the soul can without the. I don't know. Well, like that's getting into the stuff that I don't know. But the point is that while the Earth is finite, and it does have ends. The ends connect, and it just measures it blends together.
Okay.
But what does that really mean, though? Like, wouldn't that imply like we're like on a level plane and there's some weird hyperdimensional fucking like Mobius strip like thing going on? How would anyone even validate that?
It's validated. It's a deductive validation by the fact that number one, there's no measured curvature, so we know it's flat, and this is what Allah says as well. And then number two, all of our empirical observations, they would be broken on any particular flat Earth map wherein you don't have ends connecting. Any flat Earth map, whether it's the equator's curving or straight, or whether it's dipole or monopole, whatever it is, or azimuth, like, it doesn't matter, right? They would be broken by some real world observations, singular or multiple, without wraparound.
See, that is very interesting to me. This is the type of thing I would love to talk about. I feel like this is what this channel should be more focused on.
I mean, it's purely speculative.
Exactly.
No, it's deductive. It's not speculative. It's deductive. Like, it can't be any other way.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good topic of conversation,
Like,
right?
If we measure the equator to be a straight line, right? Then we know, and it's a flat Earth. We know both. Though the equator is a straight line and a flat Earth. We know people go, trans-Pacific, and straight liners go every day, and so by necessity they would have to be somehow going from one end of the Earth to the other if the equator is a straight line on a flat Earth. And the way they do that is because of wraparound. What's up?
But do we know the equator is a straight line or not?
Do we?
That's the big if.
That does seem to be the question.
Oh, I got muted. I didn't do it. Sorry, man.
Oh, don't mute him.
I didn't do it.
See, I'm more interested in talking about this whole server seems to be dedicated to debating whether or not the Earth is flat or round. I'm much more interested in talking about whether, assume that the Earth is flat. Let's not debate that, but let's talk about the implications of the Earth being flat. What does that look like, And it's very difficult. It's very difficult to get a lot of long-term discussion about that. Because it always seems to devolve into somebody getting angry and doing a bunch of mutes.
I think I can see why, though, because it does delve into the realm of conjecture. Like, you're like, oh, well, it must be that, like, you're maybe that's not the right word, but we're trying to forecast some sort of like sociological phenomena.
No,
a
it's not
result.
forecasting anything. It's not trying to
No,
predict anything. It's not trying to, say
is that
anything.
is that not
No,
what
but
you mean
it's
by implication though? Like, for example, oh well, if everyone discovered, it was revealed to everybody that indeed we do live on a flat plane.
right.
What are the implications? Like, what happens to governments? What happens to the social order? What happens
No,
to
but more
no?
about the the natural, the world. Not talking about politics, not talking about that kind of stuff, but just if let's assume the Earth is flat. Um, what does that mean for why? My big question is why would they cover it up? And there's always been
Okay.
the answer seems to always be, why wouldn't they cover it up? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Well, they don't.
They
well,
don't.
yeah, not really, dude. You can't really. I mean, you can maybe manipulate people into looking another way, but so they're not focusing on something. But the moment they look at something particular, some of the stuff that we're talking about, things are evident. Can't hide that.
Right.
Arguably, at best, there's a sleight of hand going on. But even then, most people are not necessarily aware that they're doing a sleight of hand or even intending to. Right? I was taught it was a globe. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I were to communicate with somebody, a peer or friend, family member, and we're just talking about general stuff, the concept that we, of a planet, oh, we have to save the planet, whatever, that mantra, whatnot, might come up in conversation. I'm not trying to manipulate to think that we live on a planet, but it just passes on, right? Subconsciously. So there's more likely than not, more of that type of thing going on than anything else, especially in the curriculum, because all the textbooks are already printed, for example,
Right.
Teachers have a curriculum to teach. They're not thinking about this thoroughly. Some of them do. I think it was Mary Mom who mentioned it. She had to teach some stuff at some point. She started to look into it. She's like, oh, shit. It does happen. I think it was her. Could be wrong, but, So, beyond that, dude, there's not really much to talk about except for some of the social implications that I was alluding to before, which get, very speculative. And that's not necessarily the genre of the room. So no wonder it stayed away from.
So is the genre of the room just arguing about whether the Earth is flat or not?
Pretty much. So it seems to me, yeah.
That's
Well,
unfortunate.
we're here to discuss with people who don't think that's true, right? They think the Earth is a globe. We're just really here to inform them that they're wrong. It's not a globe. It's not. There's no debate. It's not an argument.
Right. And I completely agree with you, man.
Failing to prove the globe. That's all there is.
Right. So I don't agree that the Earth is flat, and I want to have a discussion about. Okay, let's talk about the flat Earth. Let's not argue about whether or not the Earth is flat, because we've already established that it is. So maybe we could just have a discussion about, that's all I'm saying.
Wait, what? I'm not even sure what you asked there.
That wasn't really a question.
I'm not even sure what you posited or stated there.
Okay, so I'm saying I'm not arguing that the Earth is flat. Okay, I'm accepting that, and I want to talk about the flat Earth. I don't want to have arguments about it. And it seems like the only thing this channel has to offer is arguing about whether or not the Earth is flat.
Well, some people don't think so. When they come in and they present a claim that goes against it.
Well, that's fair. That's entirely fair.
For example, right? I, for example, want to know, because if I'm wrong, I'm sure most people in here would agree. If they would want to know if they're wrong,
Exactly.
right?
And I can appreciate that. But I think
Right.
that,
So I come in here,
especially
you
in
know,
situations like right now, where nobody here is arguing that the Earth is anything other than flat, I would like to have more productive discussions than that. And I feel like it's very difficult to have those discussions.
so in what area though? Like, what do you think is missing? Give me an example.
Okay, so the Earth is flat, right? And we can measure that the Earth is flat. It's very easy to do. Most people are able to do it with just basic supplies that they have available to themselves, right? So, that being the truth, why do so many people still believe that the Earth is a globe?
Beats me, man. Some people don't do it. They don't. They haven't looked into it. They haven't came across the notion that it may be not what they think. Some people don't have the time to do so. They don't have the energy to do so. They don't have the interest. There's a lot of people that come in here. I think you heard that last one. It's whatever that last guy's name was. He was openly, opposed to the idea unless some of his other, things that he has in his mind are rectified. Like, oh well, if I don't know why it's quote unquote a secret, whether it may or may not be, but his assumption that it is, unless that's rectified, I'm not even going to consider the variables. There's all sorts of different psychological quirks that are arguably innumerable, and we can discuss till the cows come home as to what they to try and come up with some kind of modicum of a list that outlines that outlines them.
Yeah.
To what end, right? So
That's fair.
What's the point, right?
So,
Unless, of course, someone's looking to have a kind of list like that to satiate a concern of theirs that, oh well, unless there is this massive list of things, I'm not going to be convinced that it is one way or the other. Yeah, unless that's the case, maybe that's one reason why it would happen. But apart from that, not too sure how important it is.
well,
Now I'm saying,
I totally understand what you're saying. I can tell you from my perspective why I would want to know those things. I don't know how interested you would be in that.
why not? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm very curious as to why you believe the Earth is flat. And I feel like the reasons go deeper than just the arguments that go on in here every day. Arguing about telemetry and geometry and all that stuff. I feel like they go deeper than that. And every time I've tried to delve in deeper than that, it's been very difficult. People get upset for no reason, and
Well, the geometry questions are
bullshit,
really,
bro.
really
Stop
important.
saying that. You're full of shit.
see, that's what you literally just proved my point. You get upset.
Yeah, because
for no
you're
reason.
lying. That upsets me. Not you wanting to talk and speculate about why would they lie.
You get upset for no reason, and you just prove my point.
Bullshit. That is a reason. You lying is a reason.
I'm not lying about anything. I haven't even made any claims, man. You're just getting upset. You're literally
now you're lying
proving
again
my
because
point.
you just did.
So prove my point. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Every time I try and get deeper, somebody comes in here, they get really upset.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm just going to kick him out, bro. I'm just going to kick him out.
Thank you for proving my point. Au revoir.
If you want to, I'm entertaining this. I'm curious where he's coming from.
I think this is a perfect. I'm not trying to get anyone upset or anything. I think I am genuine. But this is literally my point. Is like every time I try and broach the subject, somebody gets really upset and they want to kick me out or they want to ban me.
Yeah, because you're lying. Stop
I'm
lying.
not even making any points, my dude.
Yeah, you lied about why
What am
you
I
get
lying?
muted and why people get upset.
Because you're getting upset over nothing.
Yes, no, I'm not, because you lied. That is not nothing.
This is what I'm talking about. This is essentially my point.
No, it's not. Your point is about people getting upset over nothing. People lying about other people is not a fucking nothing. It's a reason.
Okay, and what are you upset about right now?
You lying
About what?
about why you get muted or why people get upset in here.
So what am I saying that's disingenuous that you're getting upset about?
You're saying that as soon as you want to delve deeper into certain speculative things, people get upset and mute you for no reason, blah, 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 blah.
All right, and I've expressed my interest in going deeper, and you've gotten upset and said that you want to mute me. So I feel like that point's kind of justified.
Because you lied
About what?
about the reason why people get upset.
Okay,
Nobody
so why
gets
are
upset because you want to delve deeper into why would they lie.
why are you
People
really
get upset when you lie. People get upset when you lie. Like me right now, I'm upset that you're lying.
Okay, so tell the truth about what I'm doing.
Oh my God.
Exactly, and that's the point.
No, it isn't the point. You have not made a point. You've lied.
You're making my point for me right now, man.
Not exactly, dude.
What, that you lie?
The
Yeah.
claim on the table. The claim on the table is that you haven't told certain truths, and that's more than enough of a reason to get somebody upset. That's not a point, dude.
I'm not making any claims. I'm just asking.
Well, you did. You said you mean
What?
you kind
What
you
did
kind
I
of
say?
you're insinuating that you're just like this innocent, do-gooder that comes in here and is just honestly being curious and
Exactly,
wants to talk
playing
about
the victim.
I'm
Right?
not playing victim.
Yeah, you are.
Well, now you are. Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm literally just saying what you guys do to me, basically multiple times a week. You come. I come in here. I'm not trying to make any claims. I'm asking you about what you believe in. You get upset and you ban me. That's what happens, man. That's from my perspective. It might be different from
But you
yours.
But you did agree earlier, right? That if you
Mhm.
are being when I pointed out to you that if you're talking if whatever it is that you're talking about in certain contexts is inappropriate to the context, you get muted or whatever, and some people get upset. You might take that as like, oh, they're getting upset because you're asking a particular question, as genuine as it may or may not be, in spite of the fact that it may be inappropriate timing, but you take it uh, as such, right? In spite of the timing.
That's entirely fair.
Right?
So I would ask
Right?
you
So
then.
No,
No.
who knows?
I would ask you then, right? I'm saying that's an entirely fair presumption. Has anything that I've said right now been inappropriate? Has
I
anything
think
that I've
personally,
said warranted the sort of outraged response
this
that
out.
I've received?
Check this out, right? If you indeed are not lying about something, or excuse me, if you are lying about something that I'm unaware of, okay, that warrants upset. But if that's not the case, I think this would personally, I think this is a perfect time to maybe maneuver around certain ideas or topics that are unorthodox in the room because it's so quiet, right? But
I would
such as
totally agree with that.
indeed not the case, right? Then that now opens the door that there's something else going on that is out of my purview, and that's where I think you and TW have something to work out first.
Hey, Mick, Jedi entertained him for like an hour last night, bro. Like on this topic. And they ended up, and it all ended cordially and respectfully.
I was banned yesterday.
He just likes to sit in here and cry about the format and cry about people's attitudes or their demeanor or their tone. He's tone policing
I'm not
little
crying about
whiner.
anything, man.
You're
I'm
a
just
tone
pointing out
policing little whiner.
that you get upset and you mute people and you
Yeah,
ban
because
people.
you're a tone policing little whiner. Meta little fucking shit.
Yeah, Chardsy, instead of criticizing the sheer fact that people do
Okay.
get upset, or tone police or whatever, right? Just the sheer fact that
I'm
they
not
do
criticizing that, man. I'm not criticizing that at all.
not acknowledging. It sounds like you maybe. I wasn't there.
I'm saying
But
that
if you
I'm
were,
upset that anytime anybody brings up something that's controversial, they get shut down.
again,
And that seems to be the case considering what we've just experienced, what we're witnessing right now.
No, but this is not a consequence of of anything being talked about that's controversial. Right? He's pointing out that you may just be misrepresenting something. Right? The sheer fact that we're talking about, the potential depths of something is not the trigger point. It's the misrepresentation of where you stand and why you're doing certain things, or the potential misrepresentation thereof.
Right. I would say that's kind of toxic.
Well, hey, dude, if you're misrepresenting something,
I'm not misrepresenting anything, my dude.
well,
I'm presenting my genuine beliefs, and people are getting upset about it, as you have seen.
That's fine. Okay.
So, how about you pick a topic that we can both discuss that's on neutral ground, and we can see if my theory is correct.
But like what? I mean, what you were asking me before, what I really think.
I'm not going to do it, Mick. I'm not going to allow him to keep lying like that. I'm not upset about what he wants to talk about. I'm not upset about that.
What did I miss?
He just said it again. And people get upset about what I want to talk about. Yeah, I get upset when you want to talk about people getting upset about what you want to talk about when that's not true.
Okay.
If he says it again, I'm booting him.
You do you, man. I'm curious to see where this is going to go. I'm sure at some point there's some bullshit. I'm going to smell it.
Am I allowed to talk now? Definitely nobody in here is getting upset. Literally all I asked, I said, pick a topic on neutral ground and let's talk about it like gentlemen.
Let's go with it.
And I got muted.
Right?
I feel like that proves my topic pretty succinctly.
Nah, dude. Hang on. It still hasn't really been assessed whether or not you're full of shit yet. But let's see.
What? Hold on. No. You let me talk first, okay? I was the one who was muted. I got unmuted.
Check this out, bro. Yeah. So let's proceed. Let's proceed, right? I'm just gonna put it on ice, right?
Okay, so you're just gonna glass over this. You're just not gonna address it.
No, I'm not glassing over it. I'm very well aware of it. It's in my corner of my eye. All right. Don't worry about it.
But you don't want to talk about it.
I'm not. No, let's indeed go back to where we were before.
Okay.
Because the main meat and potatoes of what we were saying a minute ago, right? You what was it? You were curious about like the other things apart from just the sheer raw geometric aspects of the stuff that we talk about. That you presume that there may be some more underlying psychological or whatever aspects.
Not necessarily psychological, but
okay.
My position is
when you mean
the Earth
deeper,
is flat. There must be other things that are true as well.
But when you say deeper, what were you inferring, or what were you insinuating?
Well, it's a couple different areas, but
like what?
One of the big things for me is right. The Earth, if the Earth is flat, as we've measured it to be, then there must be certain things that are true about the Earth that haven't necessarily been proven to be true.
Such as?
Like, were we actually with that? What's that matrix?
Well, such as air travel. Air travel, as we've been explained how it works, doesn't seem to work on a flat Earth.
They fly across a flat stationary plane now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
So, could you give me a map of how the airplanes travel over the Earth?
Yeah, easy.
Okay.
Use their recorder data. That's even better.
That would be excellent. Yes, let's see it.
like on what on a certain projection or something?
Because if the Earth is flat, then airplanes wouldn't travel over the Earth in the same way that they would travel if the Earth is round.
Yes, exactly. 100%. I agree with you there, Chardsy. The difference being, in order to navigate around a ball, you would have to have your nose dipped below horizontal, i.e. negative pitch. And as you can see in the data that's been presented for you in the side chat, it flies positive pitch. And the area highlighted in blue shows more than 2 hours of said plane flying positive pitch. So if it's doing 500 miles an hour, positive pitch, it is most definitely not flying around a ball.
Well, I'd be more curious as to the flight paths of the actual planes. Like if you were going from the southern hemisphere.
Flight paths mean nothing. And the reason for that, planes fly along flight corridors specifically designed for safety reasons, fuel stops. They're not just flying willy-nilly wherever they like.
Could you show me a map of the flight corridors then?
How about you type in flight corridors and look them up yourself? That's an easy one.
So the answer is no.
How about Chardsy does his own homework, types in flight corridors and looks it up himself?
Well, it was your
That's an easy one.
It's the burden of the person who makes the claim.
Your claim was they fly willy-nilly. So how about you show us the planes flying willy-nilly and then we'll refute that? Oh, I already did.
Yeah,
they fly in corridors.
Okay.
Wait, do you mean to say that they don't fly in corridors? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just curious to see a map of how it, we know where the planes are. We know how they travel around the Earth.
Google search.
And
Chardsy, if they're on corridors, right? Those are preset. Obviously, if they're preset for certain reasons, that would be in spite of their lack of optimization for fuel and all this other stuff, considering the other factors.
Well, I disagree with that because I think that flight corridors are optimized for fuel.
They may be. They may. Yeah, well, they may very well be. But the flight corridors, considering all these other things, would not be optimized solely on fuel consumption. They would have to consider all these other things, like the Matrix was pointing out, about ease of accessibility in case of emergency, et cetera, right? So it's not so easy to just look at a flight route and say, oh, well, this path is longer. It shouldn't be longer because it would take longer, it would be less fuel economic, and therefore it can't be the real flight path, right?
Can I speak to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are flight corridors that go across the entire Pacific Ocean that don't pass over any islands or anything, so I don't think they're optimized for safety, because if they were optimized for safety, they would go over the islands. I think commercial flight paths for commercial flight corridors are definitely.
I'm glad that you understand there's flight corridors. Thank you. That's the argument over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so these flight corridors that you won't show because I have to look them up because it's my claim. But
And
it's
you
actually
found them?
your claim.
Excellent. Well done. You found them. You now understand that planes follow flight corridors. You don't just hop in a plane and pray the pilot knows where he's going.
Corridors that you can't show, that I have to show.
But Chardsy, hang on. The real point of this was the fact that there are preset corridors for whatever reasons, and not that planes would not just fly between point A and point B on any map simply by minimizing the actual flight path, the actual distance.
I agree with what you're saying, but I think if you were to look at the map of actual flight corridors, the corridors would perfectly line up between the most frequently traveled destinations.
Okay. But that's a different statement than all flight paths absolutely will.
So let's just have a look at the reasons why you would plan a particular route. Number one, logistics. If you are picking up bulk people moving from point A to point B, yes, it's highly probable you are going to have that as a main route. Number two, fuel use. You want to minimise your fuel use. So a straight line would be optimal. From Brisbane to LAX, straight across the Pacific? Yeah, maybe. Don't think so. What else?
I've gone
Safety
from Sydney
reasons.
to LAX.
Let's have a look.
Before.
Yeah, then
It
you
was
followed
definitely
the
not
Pacific
a
Rim.
straight line.
Exactly, you followed the Pacific Rim. Why is that?
No,
For safety reasons.
It was not the Pacific Rim.
Well, did you have a stopover anywhere?
No.
Because I did when I went Sydney to LA.
It was
They
straight
stopped in
from
Brisbane.
Sydney to LA. It was like a 14-hour flight. It sucked.
Yeah, great. So, also,
So
safety
skip over
reasons.
that. Go ahead.
So, you've got... So, let me get this straight. Based on Chardsy being on one flight in his lifetime, all of flight characteristics are all based around your one flight. Excellent. That is fucking fantastic, Junior.
Don't get upset about it.
I'm not getting upset. I'm just amazed at
You
your
sound
stupid
kind of
logic.
upset.
No, this is just me warming up after squash. So, fuel consumption, safety reasons, logistics are all reasons why planes fly in particular routes. They don't just wake up on a Sunday morning, look at the flight log and go, oh shit, Chardsy's on, we've got to have a direct route.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't have that kind of power. I can't tell them where to fly.
Exactly. The corridors are there for a whole pile of reasons. Yes, I would say fuel consumption would be a major one. Logistics would be another one. Safety reasons would be another one. Whichever one they put first, that's up to the whoever's running it, not me.
Definitely. You're obviously upset. I don't want to aggravate you.
I sound
further.
upset. Oh, by the way, Chardsy, have a look inside chat. Sporadic Echo just put something up for you.
Is that the Wojak?
So
Wait, which one am I supposed to look at?
The one that's got you tagged into it.
ETOPS requirements preclude flights from going Great Circle routes. I don't know what ETOPS or Great Circle routes are.
You don't know?
I would think.
What does it say underneath
I would
that?
think
Easy to Google.
So I'm supposed to do the research for this guy's post?
No. You're supposed to do the research for yourself. It's called learning.
Yes.
We're not going to spoon feed you all the time.
Definitely. Because you definitely know what an ETOPS requirement is, and thus wouldn't be able to tell me.
Chardsy, I'm going to Google it, just like you are.
I'm not going to Google it, bro. You go ahead.
Well, there you go. So you'll never know.
When flat earthers get disproved, right, and that we give them an answer, they won't go and Google the answer we just gave them to prove that what we said was right, but you expect us to research the earth is flat, but yet we've proved... you're a hypocrite.
Hey, to be fair, I'm not asking anybody to look up anything. You guys are the ones asking me to look up stuff.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, because you don't want to look it up yourself
because
you don't know in advance.
And you need to learn stuff.
If you do it in advance, you just post it.
Okay, Chardsy, let's just nail this now. Do you have any measured drop over distance, yes or no?
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
Oh, come on.
Boom. Liberals
man. I call bullshit on that, dude. You've been in here so many times. That's like the main argument. You could not have.
Like I said, Ben, like I've said before, my main purpose in this channel is not to argue with people over whether or not the Earth is flat.
That's fine.
No, your main purpose in here is to be a distraction and be a fucking pain in the ass, like always.
He gets upset.
But
I literally talked about this earlier.
That's the building blocks of flat earth.
And Nobby, I wouldn't start if I were you.
I'm not.
Hang on, Nobby.
How could you not know about the drop over distance when that...
Right.
Yeah, thank you.
Mick,
Chardsy,
please continue talking with Chardsy.
I was just going to say, he just fucking deafened himself.
Yep, and there you go. That tells me he is not here to learn. He is not here to listen. He is there for a disruption and distractions only. And until he learns to educate himself, then this is what you're going to get all the time.
Of course.
Every single time he's been in here, he's done this.
I know. I had a little one-on-one with him warming up to this right before you jumped in. I smelled bullshit, but I wanted to see it through. T-Dub called it, and I acknowledged that. And I didn't dismiss the possibility. I wanted to see if he would reveal himself, and he kind of did. So it was a great little journey there.
TV Nobby, turn your camera off, please. We don't want to see what's going on in your crippled world.
Is that his model globe?
Yeah.
It's like an inverted image.
No, I think it's supposed to be some kind of like light bulb, so it projects the globe onto the wall. That's why it's inverted.
It's actually a light. It's a lamp that hangs from the ceiling, and it's a globe with a light bulb in it, and I can spin it. That's how I believe the Earth is round, because I've got evidence in front of my at all times.
Oh, fuck, that's a good one.
That's painful to see that people do that stuff.
It's like his own little mobile. You know, the little babies, he hangs something above your head. Like, yeah, play with it. Same thing. The solar system. Nobby. You knob you. Come on, man.
I just come in here for my dose of daily schizophrenia and listen to the Flat Earthers.
Well, it's bad timing, man. It's quite bad timing right now, man. Ooh, I'm talking dead at this time.
But if... Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to be quiet.
I mean, dead, you know, you can take a minute. Or whatever.
I'm going to wait for someone else to
Even Nobby, your profile picture.
Yeah, what about
I wanted to be about your profile picture. The way you have your hand on front, like on the front of her, it's like as if you're scared of losing her. It seems desperate, like it's like over possessive, you know.
Yeah, and then
the hand on the hip is fine. The hand on the hip is fine, but the hand in front like that, it's weird.
Maybe she's a complete nutter and he's got to hold her back.
Thank you.
She's about to attack the cameraman.
Hey, I know some guys, their Sheilas are like that. Just like loose cannons ready to go off. Stay back, stay back.
yeah, just for the record, she's crazy about me. And if I try to talk about me going or separating or anything, she beats me up and I get shot down. So I married my stalker. Look at it that way.
So you're used to it then.
Yeah, you know what's funny? As you guys actually, you want to get away from her, you tell her about it, but she actually beats you up. So that's even crazier that you would stay with that.
Last month, I got arrested. She got a restraining order against me, and now she's visited me flat out. Even though I don't go to her house, but she comes to mine and she breaks the order, I don't get it. I fucking don't get it.
That's crazy.
Wow, that's some desperate shit. That's some desperate shit going on there.
Mate, she sent me to jail for 13 days, okay? And then I got out. As soon as I got out, she's like, I've been waiting for you the whole time. Don't leave me.
Why'd she send you to jail?
Because I wanted to separate all the assets that we have to say, I don't want to die making your children, to her first husband, extremely wealthy, because I would rather continue on the path that I'm on, making about $1 million every 8 years. I don't want to be an old man and like give these kids money. And yeah,
okay,
that's
what part of that is jail?
Well, when a woman says that you assaulted her, her word against yours, and then bang, then it's handcuffed you.
Oh, she's lying.
You're guilty until proven innocent.
Relationships be like that sometimes, huh? Relationships are just crazy.
Oh yeah, especially with the police. It's a woman.
Women are crazy.
It's a woman's world. I don't care what anyone says, mate. Especially women's rights lately. Half the guys in jail were there over misdemeanors, but yet they're getting the full force of the law slammed down. But what got me by was thinking about you flat earthers and the stuff that you talk about. But unfortunately, there's not many flat earthers in jail.
Interesting. When I was near the jail, there was quite a few.
When you said near or in, I don't know what you're talking about.
I used to be a correctional officer.
That's a roll reversal. Aren't you Australian?
I think we both are.
And
He
that's
sounds
got
like
to do
an
what
Aussie.
about, yeah. Anyways,
The joke is
You do realise that the convicts that were sent here had to be supervised by non-convicts. So not all Australians were convicts,
funny,
right? Actually, the first entry of my surname that I've found in Australia was he was the head honcho of a convict settlement. He was like the overseer.
So Australians they're either convicts or prison guards.
Right, there you go.
anyways, I just thought it was somewhat interesting when you just said there wasn't many there. When I was near the jail, there was.
Yeah, but how long ago was that, mate? You know, because I think of the flat earthers have been back.
2021, I left. End of 2021.
Well, then, I don't know, mate. You must be from Queensland where the water's different.
No, New South Wales.
That's even worse.
No, but you were only there for 13 days, so maybe you just you didn't get in.
Yeah, 13 days.
Unless you served
on
bond.
remand.
Yeah, I was on remand. He's actually right.
Yeah. I worked there for 6.5 years.
I was at the Adelaide Assessment Prison, which is like the remand centre, but that's one of the oldest building in Adelaide. Is that assessment prison still to this day? It's the original oldest building in Adelaide City. I believe one thing about the flat earthers, sooner or later in the very near future, I think it's all going to be proven. Like the evidence is just going to be there. Like it's just going to be
Hang on a
blown
minute.
out of the water.
You believe you live on a sphere? Wouldn't the evidence already be there in order for you to have said belief?
I believe that the evidence either side of the party is finally going to be proven in the coming future. I think that's what I
It's
believe.
already been proven. You just don't want to accept it.
I'm talking about on a mass social scale where it's being rammed down everyone's face, every TV screen, all at once.
That's what's happening already. Are you awake yet? That's what we've had for since I can remember. Constant. You're on a globe. Global logistics. When I was a kid, on the news they'd talk about flights across the world, and then all of a sudden it was around the world. Just very simple wording changes. Haven't you noticed that in your time?
I'll say this. Flat earthers are some of the most intelligent people I've ever met in my life, which makes me question, is it really flat or is it really round? It makes me more confused because they're too intelligent to be crazy or to believe in a hoax.
I won't send the image of you hanging globes from your ceiling to the psychiatrist that you're going to have to see.
We can't even say to him, is the globe in the room with you now? Because he'll just say yes. Oh, that's a nice picture. Who put that up? Is that person even in channel? Oh, how cute. Echoplex is using stupidity.ws website. You know, Echo, I hope you're listening on YouTube. We use that as a training ground. Pick a random subject, pull it apart, go and get another one. So, yeah, thanks for pointing out where we practice from.
Well, he's got rocket launches from there, so that's proof that the Earth is a globe.
Oh, well, there you go. Game over. There you go. Pack your shit up, boys and girls. We can go home. Who is Brian? Brian, how's it going? No Brian? Okay. Who else we got? Nilor. I don't know that person. Probably someone under a different name.
Yeah, both Brian and Nila were here pretty much all night.
Oh, fair
Never
enough.
spoke up once.
Well, I'm guessing Nilor's not one of our usual troublemakers. Oh, maybe. I'm just looking how long they've had the account for. There are 4, so normally all the troublemakers are all 1s, 2s, maybe 3s. All the ones that we're used to.
You mean in terms of politics
Agent
level
Nick.
type thing?
Yeah. That's something I have been looking
Okay.
at too, over at that new place that we go to. Anyone who's made their account post us making our channel, questionable. I sort of a bit sus about them. But anyone who's had their account before that, it's sort of like, well, you obviously haven't followed us because you didn't even know. So yeah, I always try to keep track of that, because there's a few of them that are just downright troublemakers. They're there to cause havoc.
Have you caught any that way? Or was that just your suspicion, like the rule of thumb?
Just a suspicion thing. There's a couple of them I'm very sus on. Like, well, we know him anyways, like Mush Kane, Matthew Learns. Personally, I don't think they should be over there. Unless they are already part of that channel prior to us being there, there is no reason for them to follow us at all. They could come in here and try to stand their ground. Good luck. But anyways.
Well, it's going to be hard to tell. So because we did actually have a channel in there going back a few months, and then it got shut down. I don't know. There was something happened. I don't know.
Right.
Box Ops was actually running it, and then that all got abandoned, and then but Vivek wanted us back, so he reached out. Yeah, he actually did reach out to me at one point, and come back a few months ago, and I did put the word out to the rest of the crew, the gang in the home server, and nothing really came of it. But then he reached out to Cyclone, and Cyclone said, "Yeah, let's do it." So there could be some people that, like some of those anti-FEs and that
right.
that were there prior earlier and just stayed in the server.
No, fair enough. I'll tell you one thing. I'll give a shout out to Vivek or Vivek, however you say your name. You're a bloody legend. You're an awesome server operator. Please keep up the good work, mate. Good form. There you go. That was a quick plug. Legend, English channel or English hub.
Yeah, he's been super accommodating, and I love those commands. They're awesome. This server needs to take a page out of that book.
Yeah, some pretty cool stuff. Welcome, Rex. Please tell us you've got proof of curvature so we can go home. That's right, boys and girls. He ran away.
Ah, unfortunate. Yeah, never mind.
Thought we had one.
Just the one that got away.
Yeah. Oh, reset the trap there, Tito. You know what I need? Like a clicking sound, like a trap getting set. So as soon as it goes quiet, we can just go click, click, and everyone knows. I've actually been looking for one, but they're all just shit. You just get this one tiny little tick sound where it gets locked down, and that's it. I'll find something good. Has our aero nautical engineer come back with his paperwork yet?
The data showing the plane rotating? No.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll be shocked if he comes back and just goes, "Oh, by the way, guys, you know that data that you wanted? Here it is." We're like, "Holy shit!" I'll take a step back. That's for sure. I hope he does. Like seriously. But he went pretty quiet afterwards when he realised that everything just come down to a definition. I noticed he didn't have much fight in him after he realised that.
But was he the one saying, "Oh, you just want to argue semantics"?
Yes. Yeah, that's how he ended up.
By Central. Hello. All right, then keep your secrets.
Oh, he's a text rat. By Centro,
Mm-hmm.
do you, by any chance, have proof of curvature? Something that we can go out and test and verify and then go, you know what? It's a globe. Do you have anything like that that we can do to verify, validate, prove that it's a globe? You came here to listen.
Well, not going to be much to listen to if nobody's talking. We've got no one to talk to.
That's about all you're going to hear, bro. Crickets. It's pretty quiet at the moment. Oh, you've come here to listen to debates. Oh, wow. Well, I don't mean to offend you, young fellow, but there's not really much to debate about a shape. It either is a shape or it is not a shape. That's it. Like, if I was to draw you a square, what are you going to debate about? Or you could just run away.
Well, dang.
Oh, well, reset the trap. I'm going back to my computer games.
Oh, okay. I was gonna play the role. That's all good.
The role of what?
I'm just here to learn. I just want to ask questions.
Really? What questions would you ask?
One sec. I've got to Google.
I've got to Google it first.
Can I ask ChatGPT what to ask?
Quite a few of you guys have been on well longer than me. Like, I'm quite well aware of that. What cracks me up is you'll ask them a question, and in the background you can hear the frantic typing whilst they're Googling shit. Oh, shit. I'll delete that now. I hit enter by mistake. Yeah, it cracks me up. The amount of times I've heard that now, and they think they're all quiet about it, trying to be cheeky, or they're answering a question and you can hear the frantic typing in the background. I tell you something, some of these kids can type. They should be secretaries or some shit, eh? It's like, wow. Like, I'm not a one-finger typer, but these guys just leave me parked.
Right. They're like Speedy Gonzalez for fingers.
Oh, yeah, they're probably cracking 120, 130 words a minute without even trying. But yeah, it just cracks me up. It really does. And a couple of them, you can hear them talk, and what is it, Duper's Delight. You can hear them trying to talk with that cheesy grin on their face, like as if they've got something up their sleeve. And we know they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't realise that we've heard it all before, right? They're coming in with something new. Oh, I'll show you. I'll forget these.
Yeah, here's a perfect gotcha. I'm just going to stand back and swing. Like, seriously, if they had proof of curvature, like that kid the other day, one of them was in here the other day. If there was proof of curvature, I can assure you now, I would not be in here. Because I would have looked at it and went, really? Let's go out and test it. And would have done so. And then went, holy shit, guys, check this out. I've been out and tested it. It measures a curve.
Yeah, that's just, like... But just because we can't measure the curve doesn't mean it doesn't exist, right?
Right. I think some of these kids are lucky I just haven't unleashed full fury on them yet. Like, seriously, some of the memes I've got, Al Bundy, I think one of them, he's sitting back on the couch with a beer in his hand. There's something smart, like sometimes you've got to sit back, have a mouthful of beer and understand some people are just fucking stupid. I've wanted to post that up a few times.
Yeah. I made one where he's like sitting back on the couch with his feet up and the beer, right? And it's got the caption there from the side, what's the name? Is it Peggy? Yelling out from the back. Yeah, yelling out from the background. What are you doing, honey? And he's like, and he says, I'm researching. Like he's just sitting there in front of the TV.
Nice. Oh, Sporadic's just had a shot back at Echo.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, that lovely photo. I was going to say that awesome photo where you can see the sun underneath the clouds. Surely, Echoplex, you would look at that and go, maybe the sun's not 93 million miles away. Isn't it amazing how just perspective? Like they're looking at that going, see, it is a ball. The sun's below the clouds. I look at that and go, holy shit, that's flat. Holy shit, the sun's not 93 million miles away.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, where's the curve?
Sporadic, I know you're listening. When are you going to change your name to Indio 2.0? Like, seriously, you are mad at some of this stuff.